Ghastly Garlic Episode 15. Georgia's legendary river monster. The legend of Altamaha-ha. The Altamaha River, winding its way through the heart of Georgia, is a place of breathtaking beauty and untamed wilderness. Its waters have carved their path through the landscape for millennia, nurturing ecosystems and sustaining communities. But within this river's depths lies a secret, a creature that has fueled tales of mystery and fear for generations, the Altamaha-ha. The legend of the Altamaha-ha, affectionately nicknamed Alti by locals, is steeped in centuries of folklore and whispers. It is said that the creature has been a guardian of the river since time immemorial, a sentinel of the waters whose origins predate human settlement in the region. Early indigenous beliefs. Long before European settlers arrived, the indigenous peoples of the area held deep reverence for the Altamaha River. The Muscogee Creek and Cherokee tribes, among others, spoke of a great serpent that dwelled within the river's depths. Known as Temukua in their language, this creature was seen as both protector and omen, embodying the spirit of the river. Stories passed down through generations described Temukua as a massive, snake-like being with smooth, dark skin and large, glowing eyes. The creature was believed to possess the power to influence the river's flow, bringing bountiful harvests in times of need and punishing those who disrespected the natural world. Colonial encounters. When European explorers and settlers began to arrive in the 16th and 17th centuries, they brought with them their own interpretations of the river and its mysterious guardian. Early settlers, particularly the Spanish and French, heard the indigenous tales and recorded their own encounters with the creature. One of the earliest documented sightings was in 1740, when a group of Spanish missionaries traveling along the river reported seeing a massive serpent-like creature surface near their boat. The description matched the indigenous accounts, and the story spread quickly among the colonial settlements. The settlers named the creature Altamaha-ha after the river itself, combining the river's name with the Muscogee word for water, ha. Over time, the creature's legend grew, with more sightings and stories being added to the lore. Civil War era. During the American Civil War, the Altamaha-ha's legend took on a new dimension. Soldiers stationed near the river recounted eerie encounters during nighttime patrols, describing a dark, sinuous shape moving silently through the water. These tales were often dismissed as wartime paranoia or the product of overactive imaginations. However, in 1863, a Confederate supply boat reportedly collided with a large, unknown creature while navigating the river at night. The crew described it as having a long, snake-like body and an almost human-like intelligence in its eyes. The incident was recorded in the ship's log, adding a layer of credibility to the legend. 20th century sightings. As the 20th century dawned, the Altamaha-ha became a fixture in local folklore and a source of intrigue for cryptozoologists and monster hunters. Sightings continued sporadically, often reported by fishermen, hunters, and boaters. In the 1920s, a series of detailed sightings were reported by a group of fishermen near the town of Darien. They described a creature with a long neck, a horse-like head, and a body that moved with an undulating motion. The creature was said to have surfaced near their boat, emitting a low, resonant growl before disappearing into the depths. These sightings caught the attention of the media, and soon, newspapers across the country were printing sensational headlines about the Georgia sea monster. The Altamaha-ha became a national curiosity, drawing both skeptics and believers to the region. Modern-day encounters. In recent decades, the legend of the Altamaha-ha has persisted, bolstered by occasional sightings and modern technology. In 1981, a paper mill worker named Larry Gwynn captured what he believed to be the creature on video. The footage, though grainy and inconclusive, showed a large, dark shape moving just below the surface of the river. Cryptozoologists and enthusiasts have flocked to the Altamaha River, equipped with sonar, underwater cameras, and drones, hoping to catch a glimpse of the elusive creature. Despite these efforts, definitive proof of the Altamaha-ha's existence remains elusive, adding to its mystique. Scientific perspectives. Scientists and marine biologists have offered various explanations for the Altamaha-ha sightings. Some suggest that the creature could be a misidentified sturgeon, an ancient fish species known for its large size and unusual appearance. Others propose that it could be an undiscovered species of eel or a remnant of prehistoric marine life. While these theories provide plausible explanations, they do little to quell the fascination with the Altamaha-ha. The creature has become more than just a cryptid. It is a symbol of the unknown, a reminder that the world still holds secrets waiting to be discovered. Cultural impact. The Altamaha-ha has left an indelible mark on the local culture. Festivals, merchandise, and tourism centered around the creature have become a part of the region's identity. Artists and writers have drawn inspiration from the legend, creating works that blend fact and fiction, further immortalizing the creature in popular imagination. Conclusion. The Altamaha-ha remains an enigma, a creature of legend and lore that continues to captivate the minds of those who hear its story. Whether a real, undiscovered species or a figment of collective imagination, the Altamaha-ha symbolizes the enduring allure of the mysterious and the unknown. As our group of intrepid adventurers set out to uncover the truth behind the Altamaha-ha, they find themselves not only chasing a legend, but also confronting the deeper questions of belief, skepticism, and the ever-elusive nature of truth itself. Prologue. In the dense, murky waters of the Altamaha River, shadows moved with an almost sentient quality. Legends spoke of Altamaha-ha, a monstrous creature lurking beneath the surface, a relic of a forgotten era. Local fishermen told tales of the beast, describing it as a serpentine horror with a voracious appetite. Most dismissed these stories as mere folklore, until one night, when everything changed. A group of amateur podcasters, each with a distinct skill set and driven by a shared passion for the mysterious, received an anonymous tip about the recent sighting of the Altamaha-ha. Intrigued, they decided to investigate, unaware that their journey into the heart of Georgia's wilderness would uncover far more than they had ever anticipated. Chapter 1. The Call to Adventure. Ava Ace Carter sat in her cluttered apartment, illuminated by the glow of multiple computer screens. She was deep in her latest cybersecurity project when an email notification pinged. The subject line read, Altamaha-ha sighting urgent. Across town, Logan Logic Whitman was finalizing his latest article debunking a popular conspiracy theory. His phone buzzed with a message from Ava, urging him to check his email. Evelyn Eve Hawkins, Samuel Sam Archer, Isabella Izzy Reyes, and Marcus Mark Dawson all received similar messages. They gathered at their usual meeting spot, a cozy cafe tucked away in a quiet corner of the city. I can't believe we are actually doing this, Logan said, skepticism lacing his words. It's just another wild goose chase. But what if it's not? Izzy's eyes sparkled with excitement. Think of the stories, the history we could uncover. Eve nodded thoughtfully. Whether it's real or not, there's something drawing people to this legend. That's worth investigating. Sam leaned back in his chair, a determined look on his face. We should be prepared for anything. This isn't just a fishing trip. Mark grinned. I've been working on some new gadgets. This could be the perfect field test. With their plan set, the group embarked on their journey to Georgia, each with their own reasons for seeking out the truth behind the Altamaha legend. Chapter 2. Into the Wilderness. The group arrived in Darien, Georgia, a small town with a big reputation for its legendary sea monster. They set up base in a quaint bed and breakfast, its walls adorned with maritime memorabilia and old photographs of the Altamaha River. Their first stop was the local historical society, where they met with an elderly woman named Mrs. Thompson. She had lived in Darien her entire life and had a wealth of knowledge about the town's folklore. The Altamaha has been a part of our history for as long as I can remember, Mrs. Thompson said, her voice tinged with reverence. My father used to tell me stories about it. Some say it's a guardian, others believe it's a curse. As the group delved deeper into the legend, they discovered conflicting accounts and eerie coincidences. A recent sighting had been reported by a fisherman named Hank, who claimed to have seen the creature while out on the river at dawn. Determined to find Hank, they tracked him down to a dilapidated shack on the riverbank. Hank was reluctant to talk at first, but Sam's persuasive nature eventually won him over. I saw it, all right, Hank said, his eyes wide with fear. It was like nothing I've ever seen before. Long, snake-like body, and these eyes. God, those eyes. The group listened intently, their curiosity growing with each word. They decided to rent a boat and explore the river themselves, hoping to catch a glimpse of the creature. Chapter 3. The River Secrets. Navigating the Altamaha River proved to be both thrilling and challenging. The dense foliage and murky waters created an atmosphere of suspense and foreboding. As they ventured deeper, they came across an old, abandoned fishing boat partially submerged in the water. Mark examined the boat with keen interest. "This looks like it's been here for a while. We should see if we can find any clues." Inside the boat, they discovered a tattered journal filled with cryptic entries and sketches of a serpentine creature. The journal belonged to a man named Thomas, who had gone missing years ago while searching for the Altamaha-ha. Eve read an entry aloud. "The creature is more than just a myth. It's a part of this place, tied to the very soul of the river. I've seen it with my own eyes, and now it haunts my dreams." As they continued their search, strange occurrences began to unfold. Their boat's engine malfunctioned, and they felt an unsettling presence watching them from the shadows. Izzy's folklore knowledge came to the forefront as she shared stories of river spirits and ancient guardians. "We need to be cautious," Izzy warned. "If the Altamaha-ha is real, it might not take kindly to intruders." That night, they camped on the riverbank, their minds racing with thoughts of what they had uncovered. The air was thick with tension, and the sounds of the night seemed amplified, each rustle and splash causing their hearts to race. Chapter 4: The Encounter. In the early hours of the morning, a dense fog rolled in, shrouding the river in an eerie silence. The group was on high alert, their senses heightened by the oppressive atmosphere. Suddenly, they heard a low, guttural growl that sent shivers down their spines. Sam and Mark grabbed their equipment, ready for anything. The growl grew louder, and through the mist, they saw a massive, serpentine shape gliding through the water. It was the Altamaha-ha, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Ava quickly set up her camera, capturing the creature's movements. Logan, despite his skepticism, felt a thrill of fear and excitement. Eve tried to communicate with the creature, speaking in a calm, soothing tone. "Altamaha-ha, we mean you no harm," she said, her voice steady. "We seek only to understand and learn." To their astonishment, the creature paused, its gaze fixed on Eve. For a moment, it seemed as though a connection had been made. But just as quickly, the Altamaha-ha vanished into the depths of the river, leaving the group in stunned silence. Chapter 5: The Revelation. The encounter left the group with more questions than answers. They reviewed the footage and analyzed their findings, but the more they learned, the less they understood. It was clear that the Altamaha-ha was not just a simple creature. It was something far more complex and enigmatic. Their research led them to a hidden cave system rumored to be the Altamaha-ha's lair. With a mix of trepidation and determination, they ventured into the dark, winding tunnels. Inside, they discovered ancient carvings depicting the creature and its connection to the river. Izzy deciphered the symbols, revealing a forgotten legend. The Altamaha-ha is a guardian, a protector of the river's secrets. It's said to appear during times of great turmoil, when the balance of nature is threatened. As they pieced together the story, they realized that the Altamaha-ha's appearance was linked to recent environmental changes and human interference with the river. They had unwittingly become part of a larger narrative, one that spanned centuries. Chapter 6: The Twist. Their newfound knowledge came at a cost. The deeper they delved, the more dangerous their quest became. They faced not only the wrath of the river, but also the greed of those who sought to exploit the Altamaha-ha for their own gain. Betrayal struck from within their ranks, as Logan revealed his true intentions. He had been working with a shadowy organization aiming to capture the creature and profit from its existence. The group's unity shattered, and trust was replaced with suspicion. In a climactic showdown on the river, the Altamaha-ha emerged once more, drawn by the conflict. Logan's betrayal backfired as the creature defended its territory with ferocity. The group barely escaped with their lives, their bond forever altered. Chapter 7: Fragmented Trust. The fallout from Logan's betrayal left the group in disarray. Ava's analytical mind was constantly replaying the events, trying to piece together where things had gone wrong. Logan was kept under close watch, his every move scrutinized by the others. "I never intended for it to go this far," Logan pleaded one evening. "I thought I was protecting us, ensuring we'd have the resources to continue our work." Eve was torn between her natural empathy and the undeniable breach of trust. "You endangered all of us, Logan. You put the very thing we were trying to understand at risk." Sam's anger simmered just below the surface. "How can we ever trust you again? How do we know you won't sell us out the moment we turn our backs? Izzy, ever the mediator, tried to find a way forward. We need to stick together. This discovery is bigger than any one of us. We can't let this tear us apart. Mark remained focused on their mission, working tirelessly on repairing their equipment and planning their next move. We need to learn from this and be better prepared. There's too much at stake. Despite the tension, the group's shared goal of uncovering the truth about the Altamaha-ha kept them moving forward. Chapter 8. The Ancient Guardian. Their research led them to a local historian named Dr. Emery Langston, who had spent years studying the folklore and history of the Altamaha River. Dr. Langston welcomed them into his home, a veritable museum of artifacts and ancient texts. The Altamaha-ha is more than just a creature, Dr. Langston explained. It's a symbol, a guardian of the river and the life it sustains. The legends speak of a pact between the early settlers and the spirit of the river, embodied by the Altamaha-ha. Ava's eyes widened with realization. The environmental changes we've been seeing, could they be linked to the Altamaha-ha's recent appearances? Dr. Langston nodded. It's possible. The river's health is intrinsically tied to the creature. Disrupting the natural balance could awaken its protective instincts. Izzy pored over the ancient texts, her excitement palpable. This is incredible. We are not just dealing with a cryptid, we are uncovering an entire mythology. Eve felt a deepening sense of responsibility. We need to find a way to help restore the balance. If the Altamaha-ha is reacting to a threat, we need to address it. Their next course of action became clear. They needed to understand the environmental impact on the river and find a way to mitigate it. Chapter 9. Unseen Forces. As the group delved deeper into their investigation, they began to notice a pattern of industrial activities along the river. Factories, illegal dumping, and construction projects were all contributing to the environmental degradation. Ava's technical expertise proved invaluable as she hacked into corporate databases and uncovered evidence of illegal activities. These companies are deliberately ignoring regulations. They are destroying the river for profit. Sam's hunter instincts kicked in as he scouted the affected areas. We need to expose this. If we can bring public attention to what's happening, we might be able to force a change. Even as they worked together to document their findings and prepare a compelling narrative for their podcast. We need to make people care about this, Izzy said. We need to show them what's at stake. Mark's engineering skills came into play as he devised a plan to disrupt the illegal activities. We can use their own technology against them. If we can create enough of a disturbance, they'll be forced to halt their operations. Their plan was risky, but they knew it was their best chance to make a difference. The stakes were higher than ever, and failure was not an option. Chapter 10. A Desperate Gamble. Under the cover of darkness, the group set their plan into motion. They infiltrated the factories, planting devices that would disrupt the machinery and draw attention to the illegal activities. Ava monitored the operation from a remote location, guiding them through the complex network of security systems. As the machinery ground to a halt and alarms blared, the group made their escape. Logan, eager to redeem himself, took the lead in ensuring their safe exit. This way, he whispered, guiding them through a hidden passage. Just as they thought they were in the clear, they were confronted by security guards. A tense standoff ensued, with Sam and Mark ready to defend their friends. But before violence could erupt, the Altamaha-ha appeared, its massive form breaking through the water and roaring with fury. The guards fled in terror, and the group took the opportunity to escape. They watched in awe as the Altamaha-ha turned its attention to the factories, its presence a powerful reminder of the river's guardianship. Chapter 11. The Tide's Turn. The group's actions sparked a media frenzy. News outlets picked up their story, and public outcry forced the companies to halt their operations and face legal repercussions. Environmental agencies were mobilized to assess and repair the damage done to the river. Their podcast episode went viral, capturing the imagination of listeners worldwide. Ava's footage of the Altamaha-ha became a symbol of the fight to protect nature, and the group's message resonated deeply with their audience. Eve reflected on their journey. We've done something important here. We've shown that even the smallest actions can make a difference. Izzy added, and we've given a voice to the river, to the legends that have been passed down through generations. Logan, humbled by his earlier betrayal, expressed his gratitude. Thank you for giving me a second chance. I won't let you down again. Mark, ever the pragmatist, kept their focus on the future. This is just the beginning. There are countless other places and stories that need our attention. Chapter 12, The Mystery Deepens. Despite their success, the group's quest for answers was far from over. They had uncovered a deep connection between the Altamaha-ha and the river, but many questions remained. What other secrets did the river hold? And what other creatures or forces might be out there, waiting to be discovered? Their curiosity led them to other legends and mysteries, each more intriguing than the last. They received tips from listeners and followers, guiding them to new locations and stories. Each adventure brought new challenges and discoveries, deepening their bond as a team. As they prepared for their next journey, Ava received another anonymous email. The subject line read, "Chesapeake Bay Monster Urgent." She shared the message with the group, and they exchanged excited glances. "Looks like we've got our next mission," Sam said with a grin. Eve nodded, her determination unwavering. "Let's see what other mysteries we can uncover." With their equipment packed and their spirits high, the group set off on their next adventure, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them. The story of the Altamaha-ha was just the beginning, and their quest for the truth had only just begun. Epilogue. Back in their city, the group tried to make sense of their harrowing experience. They released their podcast episode, detailing their journey and the mysteries they had uncovered. The response was overwhelming, leaving listeners with more questions than answers. Did the Altamaha-ha truly exist, or was it a manifestation of something deeper? Ava mused in the final episode. Our search for the truth has only just begun. The group's adventure had left an indelible mark on each of them. They knew their quest was far from over, and the mysteries of the Altamaha River still called to them. As the final notes of their podcast played, the listeners were left in eager anticipation of what lay ahead. Their curiosity piqued and their imaginations ignited. The story of the Altamaha-ha was just the beginning. The end.
Thanks for tuning in to our podcast. If you enjoyed our exploration of ghosts, mythical creatures, and urban legends, please share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling episodes. Until next time, my beloved listeners.